Greetings, friends, and welcome to the Zach Leland Podcast. Join me as we gather around the virtual campfire with other fellow creatives. Together, we'll explore the magic of film, dissect sound design, discuss matters of faith and spirituality, and geek out over pop culture. So grab your headphones and let's dive into the conversation. All right, well, this is the pod. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, this feels very uncomfortable, but here we are. So if anyone's watching right now, welcome to the pod. I don't know the name yet of the pod, but we're going to figure it out. And I just wanted to hit record, and I am joined by a very special guest. He is a Dragon Ball fan, fellow Dragon Ball fan. He's got the drip. Author, right?
That's me, yeah.
Best-selling author? Am I right?
No, you're 100%
Okay,
correct.
that's what it said on your Instagram or something. I read that somewhere, so I'm like, I gotta guess you up.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, author, ministry, worship leader, and musician, and yeah, just good to have you here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Honestly, like I just want to say thanks for allowing me to be the first guy or one of the first guys on the show. Like we've always talked on the side about just like production stuff and doing stuff, and I mean, and here we are, bro. We're doing it. Yes. Enough of the talk, and like, let's just get to work,
Yeah, man. It's cool. It's I haven't seen you in a while, honestly.
Literally, we've probably only hung out like once or twice.
Yeah.
But we were like. We talk all the time, which is weird. We'll just send memes or like we'll just text or talk about stuff. But we've only hung out like twice.
Yeah,
so it's like I don't know. It's just one of those relationships.
Yeah, that's how you know we're boys. Like
we've played Valorant together. Like we've sat and gotten tea, but I don't know.
Tea. Oh yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that. That was really funny. So the last time we hung out, it was this tea bar. And it was just funny because, like, when we went there, before we showed up, I was just like, I've been there previously. And I was like, man, I really hope that they're not doing the stand-up comedy night. And what do you know? We're having tea. And I just see this guy like wheel out this like the microphone and a old dusty XLR and a big like huge speaker system. And I'm just like, oh no, here we go. And man, it was so funny because it wasn't funny. It was
that's the problem.
It's funny. It's funny now looking back on it, right? But I mean, it was like just kind of uncomfortable because it was like there was no stage. It's just like you're in like a bar and there was like maybe 4 people in the whole bar. And it's weird because like when a joke doesn't land, it's just like dead quiet.
Bro, it was like me, you, another guy, the guy that worked there, and a comedian. And it was just like...
I remember I was like kind of like, let's get out of here. Like we're like, and then you just like text me, like I'm like right across from you, like text me. You're like, we should go, right? And I was like, yeah, we should leave.
We weren't complete jerks though. We tried to stay for like an act or two, and it was just like these guys. So like out here, I don't know if wherever you're watching from, but out here there's like comedy school. So they like just graduated. It felt like because like at Governor's, like you could go for like a comedy school.
Oh, no kidding.
And then they'll like host shows. So like people who graduate could go and could have a show.
Yeah.
And they'll like School of Rock or something like that. And that's what it felt like. Like this was like your first time. Like they were all nervous. They didn't memorize their jokes.
Yeah.
They were cringe and they didn't do any like feedback, it felt like. So like they didn't like test it on like a family member or something, or if they did, they didn't give them good feedback because it was just like super cringe. And like we stayed for like an act or two to like be kind, and then it got to the point where it's just like, all right, it's just the 3 of us here, so I'm just gonna leave.
A lot of sympathy laughs, right?
Oh yeah, that really put my acting skills to the test that day, bro.
A lot of sympathy laughs.
The tea was good though.
The tea was fire.
Yeah,
that place is actually really cool. It's like a bar, like that you would drink beers at, but it's like they have like kombucha on tap, and it's good for.
And you can like pick your leaves and stuff like that, or whatever it was.
It's a fun place just to kind of like hang out and relax, and
like a cafe for tea.
Exactly. Yeah, but Yeah, that was the last time I saw you, I think, right?
Maybe at church one time, but I don't know if that was before or after, like, but the timeline's kind of, but that's like almost a year ago, probably. So.
Yeah, like at least.
Yeah.
I remember, do you recognize this t-shirt?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100 Thieves Attack on Titan.
Yeah. I remember when we met, you like saw me at church and you're like, hey, like I like your shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is the shirt. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that, bro.
Yeah. Well, you probably saw the back of it or something because I was like walking away.
Oh,
like,
it might have been the 100 Thieves, to be honest with you.
So that's kind of like how we like connected because, you know, you play League of Legends and I play Valorant. And
I would probably call out the 100 Thieves because Attack on Titan fans are more, there's more of them than like esports fans.
Right.
And then if someone's is an esports fan but wearing merch, they're like even more niche, so I know they're more about it, so something more to like click on. But I'm a Cloud9 fan.
Yeah.
And they did a collab with One Piece.
Oh, nice.
And my wife bought me a Cloud9 One Piece shirt.
Oh, fire.
And I should have worn it if I knew you were going to wear 100 Thieves
next time. Well, you got the Dragon Ball.
Yeah. But you got to rep your org, bro. Come on.
True.
You got the Nade Shot stream on before this.
Yeah, I know.
Not the name drop, but
I know. No, I love Nade Shot, but
their league team's kind of flailing right now.
Really?
Yeah, they're not the best.
I don't know anything about League, or I just follow Valorant.
What's their Valorant team like?
Really good actually. They were pretty terrible in like the beginning of the season, and then they ended up actually winning the stage 1 like Americas, which is pretty fire. And then they went to Masters, but they didn't go very far. But it's been fun to watch. They just qualified for the playoffs, so yeah. It's been fun to watch. I look forward to like watching the games like every week. I don't watch like basketball or football or anything. I just watch professional video games.
Bro, it's growing. And it like peaked for a while and it's coming down a little bit, but it's like still really high. But I know Cloud9 just qualified for playoffs in Valorant. But you might have to give me a Valorant rundown because I don't know the esport that well. So like, what's the best region? What's the best team? Who's the best player? Give me a little bit of a rundown.
Okay, so the best region is, I mean, I'm not even being biased. It's America's by far. Sentinels, like they won the first tournaments. Well, they won like, I think it was like the kickoff tournament. I forget the names. And then they won Masters Madrid, I believe. So they were like really hyped up and they were looking really good. They fell off a little bit, but honestly, like, yeah, the competition in the Americas is fierce. There's, you know, a couple of teams that are just bad, but anyone could win at any day. So yeah, the Americas is definitely the best. 100 Thieves is looking pretty hot.
Who's the best player in the Americas, would you say?
The best player in the Americas? Probably Aspas on Leviathan.
Oh, yeah? Oh, the Brazilian team, right?
He's a demon.
Yeah? Oh, my gosh. Dude. I know, like, so it's like weird. So, like, I come from CS.
Okay.
And, like, in CS, by far, like, bar none, like, no one could compete with European teams.
Right,
like Navi, FaZe, like, all those teams are just goated. But then for some reason, Brazil's, like, always kind of strong, too. And then, like, the U.S. or North America has a couple, like, standout years. Like, Cloud9 won a major. Liquid is pretty good. So it's, like, why is it so different in Valorant that like EU's not even close to the Americas, but America can't touch EU in CS?
Yeah, I think EU is actually pretty solid in Valorant. There's like an org called Fnatic, and they're like very notorious for being a good team, but they fell off. So I mean, it could go either way. I think actually the most recent international LAN was Gen G. They won, and they're from
Korea, right?
I think it's Korea, yeah. So, like I said, it's like the competition is really strong, and any region can win at any time.
Do you have a favorite player?
Favorite player? That's a good question. Well, it's got to be someone on 100 Thieves, right? So
it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to.
Nah, it does. I don't know. I think I like them all like equally. Let's see. There's Cryo, Asuna, Bang. EU and Boostio. I think maybe Boostio, because are you familiar with Boostio at all? He won the world championship with Evil Geniuses last year, and he's just like the biggest trash talker. Like after every round they win, he just like gets up and like just starts yapping, and it makes it more fun, you know?
Sure,
like you watch sports and they do the after match interviews and they're just like, I was just here to like help the team and like being all humble and stuff, which is like fine, but like we need more fun, like more trash talk. Like it makes it more fun and interesting and makes the stakes higher, because if someone's trash talking you and then you beat them, it's like it just makes the stakes feel higher, and it's just more fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it like that in League or
this season for the first time?
Counterstrike?
Counterstrike, not as much. Like every now and then you'll get a pop off or whatever, but in League this year, the LCS North, which is North American League of Legends region, they just implemented this thing called Talk Your Spit, and they allow all chat now, which means you could type.
Oh, you could type in the middle of a match?
Yeah, and
That's
then they
funny.
show it on the screen.
Oh.
So they're really encouraging that, and that's part of the reason was because this dude, APA on Team Liquid, people call him Appa, which means then they call him Yappa and Yapped in America, because he was all chatting, but like only the players could see it.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to like the spectators, and now the crowd could see it.
Okay.
And he kind of like is the reason for that, because like during their playoff run last year, he's not the best player in the league by far. He's like kind of mid.
Yeah.
But he was getting in people's heads by typing. And then they wanted to encourage that because it was really engaging for the fans. Like he's a mid-level player, but super popular because of it.
Yeah.
So they wanted to implement it, and now they have whole segments devoted to talking about each other.
Nice.
And it's really helping viewership. I think LEC is probably like their best team is better than most North American teams, but as a whole, North America is better than the European teams. But for a while, the European teams had higher viewership. And North America passed it this year.
Yeah.
They did before and they did again now. And I think it's because of this segment where teams are like going after each other now. And it creates kind of like a reason to watch.
Right.
Besides just your team winning.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like that before, but it is now, and it's really exciting, I think.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's cool. I kind of want to pivot a little bit.
Sure.
I'm glad that we were right into the esports type of thing. I think it's fun. But yeah, I guess kind of catch me up with like what you've been up to personally. Like, how's your summer been? Have you been like enjoying being on Long Island? I know we were talking before. You're like, I want to get out of New York and maybe go down south or something. But yeah, have you done anything this summer? Or?
Yeah, so my wife and I last weekend actually we took a team of like 15, and we took a caravan of 3 vans to Northwest Indiana, about 30 minutes from Chicago. It was in Portage, and we had a youth conference for a church. It was about like 400 people. We stuffed them in this room. On Friday night, Maddie Montgomery, our boy, if you know For Today, if you're a metalhead, you know For Today, Maddie Montgomery preached, and it was powerful. Then Saturday, this dude Brian Barcelona, and then Saturday night, our Pastor Mike, he preached, and we baptized like 100 teens.
Wow.
And it was just an awesome weekend of ministry. And so that's what I was doing like this past weekend. But most of the stuff we got coming up is like at the end of July, we're going to San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con.
Sweet.
So yeah, I'm going to be vending there. I got physical copies I wrote a graphic novel or a manga. I market it as a manga, but it reads like an American graphic novel.
Do you read it backwards?
No, you read it regular. So that's why I tell people it's a manga because the art style is like really manga-y.
Okay. But
it reads like an American graphic novel.
Cool.
And so we're going there for that. I got a bunch of digital stuff to sell, and then yeah, man, it's really overwhelming actually. Like I've done like some comic conventions and like regular like set up booths at places, but this is like the big daddy, you know. It's like 100,000 people probably, or 50,000, whatever it is, over the course
like
of the
the
weekend.
biggest like
it's the biggest
event
one in the world. Yeah.
But like for you personally, like being a vendor and like showcasing your work,
by far,
this is the biggest one.
This is probably twice as big as all the events I've done together combined.
What was that process like, getting like access to being a vendor? Is it something that like anyone could do? Do you have to apply?
You can apply because there's like spaces that open up and stuff, but a lot of it is just like you're kind of grandfathered in. So like as it gets bigger, they'll open up more spaces, but it's usually open to the people who were there last year first.
Okay. And
how we got in is because this woman I know who helped me publish my book, because it's self-published, but she kind of helped me with it. she is friends with this woman who back in the 50s was a horror comic book writer.
In the 50s?
Yeah, so like right before or during the comic code or right before the comic book code. I don't know if you know anything
I don't even know anything about that, but continue.
So she's like kind of like well known to people who like comic history, and this guy there invited her to come because he's a comic book historian.
Interesting.
So she invited him to go, and because she went, she was able to get a booth. But she's old, so she can't do Comic-Con all weekends, but she still has the availability of the booth.
Okay.
So she offered it to the woman who helped me publish, and since I'm like the only comic book person she's worked with, she invited me.
Awesome.
So she'll be there for like 2 days, but like Saturday and Sunday, which Saturday is the biggest day, it's gonna just be me.
Yeah.
So it's like really exciting. Well, my wife too, because she's my saleswoman. I'm a writer. I don't talk, and she's.
You don't talk?
I mean, I'm more introverted. I don't sell for sure. I'm not a seller.
You're not a salesman.
So, but she loves that stuff. She loves talking to people and like selling and stuff. So she, I can't do any of this without her. Like it's physically impossible. Like I'll sell like a book to if Comic-Con's gonna have 100,000 people, I'll probably sell a book if it was just me. You know what I'm saying? But she's really like good at selling and talking with people. So she's gonna be coming with me, and then that's how I got in. And then but she has like lifetime access to this booth. So I'll be able to go as long as she lives. So keep praying for her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But what the comic book codes were, to jump back, is during like the 50s and 60s, they like were really cracking down on censorship. So they really were removing a lot of comic book violence. No like sexuality, no sexual stuff. Horror kind of took a front step, but they had to cut down a lot of the violence in it. But horror was kind of like leading in that time. And then Stan Lee kind of came around, and the comic book codes kind of dropped in like the 70s, which kind of like allowed it to be a little bit more violent. But during like the 50s and 60s, horror was kind of the way to go because they nerfed Superman to the ground. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
They nerfed Superman.
I mean, who would have thought? But yeah, because when you can't show Superman beating up people, it's like, what's he gonna do?
So super about him?
Exactly. He's just a guy at his desk now.
Just man.
But when you could have a horror story without really showing violence, it kind of allowed for that. You could just show the killer in the room, and then you could just show the killer leaving the room with the guy laying down on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it allowed for that to take the forefront, and then you get. I mean, horror was kind of popular at the time too, with all the monster movies and all that stuff. So that's how I got in. It's really overwhelming, like because of the scale. I've never, like I said, it's bigger than double all the events I've done before combined.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you even plan for that? You know? But also, like, I've done comic book conventions that they don't sell as well as like regular like, art fairs or stuff like that because a lot of it's teenagers. So I've really adapted my method to selling cheaper stuff to people who don't have as much money. So it's like, it's a lot of business stuff that I'm not really good at.
Yeah.
But my friend is. So he's like kind of coaching me through. But yeah, I don't know if you've ever gone to like New York Comic Con or.
I haven't been to New York Comic Con. I've been to Anime NYC, which is
huge.
It's pretty huge, but I didn't really have a good experience there personally.
Yeah, so what I tell people who don't go to New York Comic Con, because I've gone a couple times, and I've done just walk around, and then I've done like go to a panel or like go listen to like some of the celebrities talk or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, I could see why it would suck.
Yeah, the panels are fun. And when I went to Anime NYC, we did I think it was some kind of like early access to like a new episode of Attack on Titan. And they're the voice actor of, I forget the main character. Like
Eren?
Eren, yeah. It's been so long since I've watched the show.
Got an Attack on Titan show on.
Dude, the last time I watched the Attack on Titan, the finale, I went into like a depression for like 2 weeks.
Sounds about
so
right.
I've kind of like blocked that out of my mind because I was like, I don't want to go back there. Like it was like so good, but also so sad. I mean, that's like the most like emotional, like high stakes, like just grand cinematic anime that I can
finish it.
What?
I didn't finish it.
Well,
I got like the last two parts of the final season to do.
Yeah, like what? Like the final season part 17.
Yeah,
there's
I gotta do part 16 and part 17.
There's like the final season, part 1, part 2, the second final season. There's like so many different like.
So like I saw the twist, which was like honestly really good, really difficult to explain to people who haven't watched the show, but it's a really good twist. And then like I haven't even watched like the rumbling or anything, so I don't really know.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild. Definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I gotta just sit down and do it. So I'm grinding right now through One Piece, so I haven't been able to watch anything else. Because well, I mean, I watched like Demon Slayer as a release weekly. I watched Jujutsu Kaisen as a release weekly. Solo Leveling as a release, but like I can't go back and like watch other stuff that's finished when it's releasing weekly. I can watch it. You know what I'm saying? I'm 990 through One Piece though, so I'm
990.
Yeah, I got like 200 episodes.
You almost watched 1,000 episodes.
Yeah,
that's a commitment.
Have you watched it?
I have. It wasn't for me.
All right, I'm about to leave.
Judge me. Yeah.
No, it's so. All right, so how far did you get?
I watched like 20 episodes, bro.
You didn't even get to Arlong, bro. That's why.
I don't know, man. It was weird. Like, I mean, okay, you're gonna judge me again, but I was, I watched the English dub.
I did too.
Is that good? I don't know. Like some people are just like, oh, you're not like, a real fan. It's not
as good, obviously, because like if you've watched Dragon Ball, you recognize everybody.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It was like I was listening to the characters. I was like, this is Krillin. This is Vegeta. This is Piccolo. It's like this. It was like weird because I grew up on Dragon Ball, so it was just strange. Like.
Yeah, I did that though, so I could just like binge as much as possible without like having to watch it. So like I'll just keep it on the second monitor as I'm like playing League or WoW or something. But no, I think a lot of people watch it in English, especially with the age of it. But like you haven't even got to the point where they introduced Frieza's voice actor yet. Like,
oh yeah,
but he's not for like a couple hundred episodes, and then you're like, oh, that's Frieza, okay. And so it's a really good show. It's like number 1 for a reason. But they're re-releasing One Piece condensed.
Okay.
So they're gonna eliminate a lot of the old shonen stuff. So it's like not
like Dragon Ball Z Kai or something like that.
Kinda. So you know how like there's like some filler arcs obviously, but there's also they fill in a lot of the time by like explosion dust travels for like a minute. You know, that's how they fill in all the time. They're removing all that.
Okay.
And it's going to just really condense it down to like the important stuff and like try and increase the speed of which stuff happens. Instead of like being like, 12 hours for an arc, maybe they'll do like 9 hours or whatever it is. And it's going to be modernized. So yeah, One Piece, you should watch it.
I will definitely.
You can watch the live action and then skip like 60 episodes of the anime if you wanted to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's a big commitment there.
Not real. I mean, I've been doing it for like probably almost 2 years, actually. And I'm not caught up yet. But I also don't watch it every second of every day. So, I mean, you got 2 monitors. You could play Val. Actually, I guess you can't play Val and watch because you need sound. Play WoW.
Never. Not going to happen. You'll not catch me playing WoW.
Come on, bro, for the Horde. Loktar.
No. Val's enough for me.
Interesting.
Free to play, addicting, fun, esports. But
WoW's got esports.
True.
What do you got for the summer?
Well, I just got back from Italy, so that was fun. I was there for about 12 days.
Oh, sick.
But in terms of the rest of the summer, I'm not sure yet. I mean,
so you're gonna just skip over Italy entirely? Come on, bro. How was it? How was the food? How was the people?
Yeah, it was really awesome. So, I mean, unfortunately, I was not feeling very well for the first like 6 days. I think I overindulged a little bit. My brother, he has like this Chase Sapphire card, and it gives him access to this lounge at the airport. And like anyone would be so super excited. I was just like, I'm going to Italy for the first time, Europe. I was hyped, and I love free food like anyone, but I really like when I have access to like a buffet or something like free, I'm just like, okay, I'm going crazy. So, and the food was really good too. So I was just like eating a bunch of stuff like dessert, whatever, steak. And I chugged a cocktail.
Oh gosh!
And yeah, it was like free alcohol. I was like, "What? That's
crazy.
That's not a thing."
Who charges? Who's free in alcohol? That's crazy.
I know, it was weird, but anyway, so I was very excited. And I should also mention the lounge was on the other side of the airport, so we had to walk like 15 minutes to get there. And then so we were leaving the lounge to head back to our gate, to catch our flight. And then I hear my name over the loudspeaker and I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to miss my flight to Europe. Like this is not going to happen. So we start like booking it. We're like running. Meanwhile, after I just like chugged like a cocktail and like ate a bunch of food. And I think that was like kind of the catalyst that just sent me over the edge. And between that and getting like 30 minutes of sleep on a 12-hour flight, I think that's what got me sick. So, but anyway, you know, after the first 6 days, I got my medicine, I recovered. We had a really good time. We rented a car and drove around Tuscany, visiting all these beautiful mountaintop cities and trying all the food, pasta, drinking wine. I'm not a big wine guy personally. I'm not into like the different flavors and you swirl it in the glass, and I don't understand it. But yeah, so we did that, and then we drove down to Rome. We visited the Vatican, which was very cool. Mm-hmm. Not a big museum guy personally, but we had like a private tour, and a lot of the history there was really fascinating. Like learning about like St. Peter, and I'm not Catholic, but I enjoyed learning more about the history. And I mean, obviously, like I read the Bible and I'm a Christian, so like I'm familiar with like the characters and all the apostles and everything. So like learning about Peter, and they you know, these are the things that they said. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, like Peter was like hung upside down and in the courtyard. They call it St. Peter's courtyard, and it's right outside of St. Peter's Basilica, which is the largest church in the world. So that was incredible, man. You just like go in there and it's like huge, and the artwork and the golds, and man, it was really cool. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. And we had the private tour guide, so she was just like talking to us like with the earpiece in, and
is that translated it for you?
Well, she was talking in English, but she was like kind of giving us like a narration and like giving us the history and stuff, rather than like reading it on like the.
Oh, okay, sure.
Half the times the stuff you read is not even in English, so you can't understand it. But she did a really good job of explaining the history, and it was really cool. I was pleasantly surprised, and plus you're in a different country.
Sure.
The Vatican is literally a different country. It's the smallest country in the world. So you literally like you cross a border. So it's just,
snap, really?
Yeah, it's a different country. So it's just interesting how like you're in Italy, you're in Rome, you like go through security and you're like in the Vatican. It's like a different country. So
yeah, it's just kind of wild.
It is kind of wild, yeah. So and then like when you're like walking out, you just like walk on the sidewalk. You're like, I'm back in Rome. And like they had like the Swiss guards there. Have you ever heard of the Swiss guards? No. Their job is to protect the Pope, and they have like these like crazy like colorful outfits on, like they almost look like clowns or like jesters. Like no shade to them, obviously, but and they have like these like big spears in their hands. So like their job is literally to protect the Pope. So they'll just like spear someone if they.
But what's a spear gonna do against a rifle, bro? I'm just saying.
I don't know, man, but it looks cool.
Yeah, so, sure.
So yeah, that was fun. And what
How's
else?
the food? Because I know like Italy's like a blue zone. I don't know if you know what that is.
What is blue zone?
So they have like the highest rate of like.
Is it like is that
lifespan?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like nutrition and stuff.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that is one of the things that a lot of the people we talked to like took a lot of pride in, was how a lot of the food's organic, and especially the olive oil and the wine, the grapes. But the food was really good. They let's see, what was my favorite thing? Truffle pasta.
Truffle pasta is kind of wild, bro.
Truffles are just next level.
Yeah.
They're just like, it's a flavor that you cannot top it.
So unique.
It's so unique.
Yeah. Nothing's ever, I haven't tasted something that's like, oh, that could be truffle, you know? You kind of know or you don't.
It stands out.
Yeah,
It's pretty elite. So yeah, truffle pasta. The pasta is like very al dente that they make it there, so it's like you kind of have to chew it a little bit more.
I like that better, actually.
You like that better? Yeah. I could go either way. It's
depends what kind.
I guess it depends on what kind. Yeah, like but it was good. It was definitely like not what I was expecting. They use less sauce. I want sauce. I want like drenched sauce, but they like they're very conservative with it.
So I guess that's more an American Italian type thing.
Yeah, we're Americans. We just go over the top of everything. So
Yeah,
I guess that's not the original way that they did it. We tried a lot of pasta, a lot of bread.
But you weren't getting like, were you getting like carb hangovers or like carb tired?
Yeah, I was getting carb tired hardcore.
But did they have siestas?
Siestas? Yeah, like everything was closed around like noon to around 4 o'clock.
Really?
Which is like really annoying.
That's like 4 hours.
That's like 4 hours when you're like, hey, I got to go to the pharmacy and get some medicine. And it's closed and I'm like struggling here. But we went to the Amalfi Coast, which is just like this beautiful waterfront. It's a big touristy town, but it's like the water's just gorgeous blue. We got a chance to go on a boat. We swam. I was like collecting rocks and had some food. Yeah.
Men never grow up, bro. We're all the same.
Just collecting rocks, bro. It's actually really fun. Have you ever tried it when you go traveling?
No, because I don't go in water.
Oh, you don't like swimming?
No, so we just went to Mexico for my brother's wedding.
Okay.
And we went on the boat, and there was a snorkeling thing, and I'm like, I'm not going in the water.
Okay.
And it's not like I went in the pool, but like 9 times out of 10, I'm not going in the pool. I just don't like water stuff.
Interesting.
Find it highly inconvenient, and also the oceans, we don't know anything about it, so I'm not going in there.
Okay.
But I stood on the boat and took a nice nap, and it was amazing.
You enjoyed it?
I did. Nap? Yeah, who doesn't like a nice nap? But like, and I don't really go to the beach. I know we live on an island.
I was gonna say, yeah, like you're on Long Island, dude.
And
like,
I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm like fully island.
Yeah.
But I don't really like going to the beach. But if I do, yes, to answer your question, I would collect rocks. But I don't really go to beaches, so I'm not going to.
Ah, okay.
But
I see.
What was so special about these rocks?
Well, I had some family, my 2 aunts. I asked them, hey, what do you want? You want me to get you some souvenirs and stuff? They're just like, get me some rocks. They like to collect little knickknacks, you know, like they're big on nature. And so I was like, all right, I'll find you some rocks.
That's actually really cool. That's really nice.
Dude, I was like, I really enjoyed it, you know, because like on the beaches, there's just rocks everywhere. And, you know, sometimes you get bored. You're just kind of like, I don't drink. So I drink a little bit, but like, I'm not like out here like getting wasted on the beach and like dancing and stuff. So I just like, you know, I'm relaxing, go for a swim in the beach, but there's just rocks everywhere. So it's something fun to do. You get to find the really special ones, and I found some really cool ones with like interesting colors, and they loved it. So it was fun. It was actually funny. I brought back like 12 rocks. It was like a big bag, and I stuffed them in my luggage, and we were going through the security. And you know how like through those machines that the security goes through, there's like it's like there's like the main belt, and then like there's like the one in the back that like they take a second look at.
Yeah, when they actually open it up.
They grabbed my bag and they started opening it up, and I was just like, oh no, they're gonna take my rocks. And she goes up to me, she's like, are there rocks in your bag? And I was like, oh no, yes. So she like grabbed them, and it was all fine. But I was like nervous. I was like, no, like all my rocks that I spent.
I'm sure they're just like checking for like bugs or nothing.
Yeah, I think they needed to check the size of them.
Oh, sure.
It's probably like maybe.
I mean, I'm sure you could hurt somebody with a rock.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
like
yeah.
just like.
To follow up on your flight.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the raw dogging trend?
Yes. Yes, that's when they don't watch any movies or anything.
They don't watch anything but the map in front of them.
What is?
Did you
this?
raw dog?
Absolutely not. I did not raw dog any. I brought my Nintendo Switch. I was playing Mario Party. I watched The Creator, which was pretty underwhelming on a.
Yeah, I'm sad about that.
Probably would have preferred to see it in IMAX instead of a.
Instead of your Switch.
Instead of my Switch, yeah. But no, like what? So what is this? I've seen a couple of like memes.
It's peak masculinity, bro.
Peak masculinity. Yeah.
Mental fortitude, stoicism.
Stoicism, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to try it for like when I go to San Diego, but I don't know. I also don't know if I want to try it. It's like a 6-hour flight.
Just for the cloud or like what?
It's like a 6-hour flight. If I'm gonna be the best, I gotta be the best.
So yeah, I think maybe if you raw dog it on the way there, you should be able to like brag about that once you get to Comic-Con. You could be like, hey, like I raw dogged on the way here, and then like people will just like be like, all right, bye, I'm not buying your comic.
Bro, no music, no entertainment, just the map in front of you, and no sleeping.
What about food?
Food, I think you can do.
Okay, so food, sleep.
No sleep.
No sleep.
No sleep.
Ugh, I don't know, man.
That's hard, bro.
So what do you do?
Stare at the map in front of you.
Are you allowed to play around with the map?
I don't know.
Like
I would assume not. I would assume not.
Okay. Yeah, not for me.
How long was that flight to Italy though? Did you have to transfer?
Yeah, we transferred in Frankfurt, so it was like 10 hours to Frankfurt and then another 2.5 hours. But total travel was like 14.
Yeah,
it was long. There's no chance I was raw dogging anything.
I think I could do it. Do I want? I don't know if I want to though.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I'll send you a text message from Italy. Hey, raw dog in Italy.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Gosh. You how long were you in Frankfurt for? Just the layover?
Just a couple of hours.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always want, actually, surprisingly, so like Italy's on my list, but like Germany's higher actually on my list.
Really?
Yeah. One, because I feel like no one travels there.
Yeah.
And two, there's like so much like relatively close like history.
Yeah.
In Germany.
What kind of history are you interested in?
I will do like global history. So like everybody talks about World War II, World War One, which obviously Germany is responsible or was held responsible for both. But you know the meme or the trend a little while ago about the Roman Empire.
Oh yeah.
I do think about the Roman Empire probably about 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow.
And that's mostly like coming from just reading the Bible.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot of like the whole New Testament takes place in the Roman times.
Right.
So it's like so hard for me to not read the Bible and then think about Rome, especially since I was like almost like this close to being a history major. So I love history a lot.
Awesome.
But I guess for me, it's like I like a lot of the like mythological stuff.
Okay.
So I'll study like Hebrew mythology, I study like Roman mythology, not as much Greek mythology, just stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
I like typical guy nerd stuff, I guess. U.S. history, of course. I know a lot about just like presidents and all that stuff. But,
yeah.
Yeah, like Shane Gillis said. Actually, we won't get into what Shane Gillis. I don't know if you know who that is.
I know who that is, but I don't know. I tried watching a show on Netflix, and I was just like,
no, you gotta watch his stand up. His show's like whatever. It's like stupid sketch, but you gotta.
Is it like how profane is it? Because I think a lot of stand up is just like is just I just can't.
Like he curses obviously, and he like talks about like sexual stuff a little bit. Not as bad as like other people, but he's like a bro. You know, so like it's like you're chilling with your homies.
My buddy listens to his podcast, I think.
I don't know if I'm sure he does. I haven't listened to it.
Yeah.
But his stand up on Netflix, like just watch like the first, I don't know, 30 minutes and
it's good.
You'll know. I think it's great.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Great. I think the past like 2-3 years he's probably like the funniest comedian, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to really love Louis C.K., but obviously he's like kind of a creep now, so
I mean he's always kind of a creep, but like it's just come out.
That was college.
Yeah. So if you like just more chill, like just telling stories and then hanging out with your college friends, that's kind of like
okay.
He literally just feels like your college friend.
All right.
So I recommend him. But yeah, he said something about it, but we don't have to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah, no spoilers.
What else you got planned? You went to Italy. What else you got planned?
I think for the summer, honestly, not a whole lot. No, just trying to like find work and do like adult things.
How does that happen? How do you find like clients and stuff?
I mean, for a long time, I spent a lot of time on social media and doing the whole like releasing content, videos, posting. But I think I've kind of evolved past to that, and I'm just kind of over the whole like being on the internet 24/7, like looking for work. So that's historically how I've, at least when I was earlier on in my career, I found jobs. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But ideally, the best situation is just people calling you and like word of mouth, like referrals from previous clients. It's more fun that way too. You know, you work with people.
It's more locked in, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you there's a level of trust too, because it's like, hey, I worked with this one person. I trust that they did a good job. I enjoyed it. Well, this next project will probably be like pretty successful because I can trust that this person's referring me to someone who's trustworthy. So,
do you also find you could charge more for like a word of mouth referral?
Not necessarily. I think in general, compared to someone you don't know, like a random person, yes. because they know you. They've seen your work. They have your referral through a friend or a trusted colleague. So I think you have that kind of leg up. But in general, the rates have been terrible this year because of just the economy in general. People don't have money to spend. Hollywood is not in a good place in general. People are getting laid off in the tech industry and the creative industry. The strikes last year, I think a lot of that is like rolling over to this year.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Like last year was like not a great year for me, but it was decent. I was fairly busy through like consistently throughout the year, except for the summer. The summer I was doing Amazon, but yeah, this year has been dead, really? To the point where I'm actually like very seriously pivoting careers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not like on Fiverr or Upwork or Bark or anything like that?
I got accepted to like the Fiverr like premium service at one point, but I just like never followed up with it. I don't know. Like I said, like I'm just not really interested anymore in like being online and like scoping out jobs that are like that hundreds of people are applying to, and the pay is probably not even going to be that good. I would honestly rather focus my attention and my energy towards finding a job that like that'll just give me work consistently, and I don't have to like tooth and nail like beg for like a decent paycheck. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it's like being a human nature. It's just like you don't want to like have to exert yourself for pennies, you know? Like
yeah,
for scraps. Like I get it.
I mean, if you're really passionate about something, obviously, like
yeah, but passion doesn't pay the bills.
That's right. But my point is like if you're passionate about something and you feel like you're called to pursue something, then you can get through it. But I'm passionate about this type of work, but at the same time, I am noticing a shift in like my personality and so on and so forth. So it's just like it's time for, I think, a change. And so I'm just going with the flow. I know God has like a plan for me, and I'm not gonna fight that. I'm just gonna kind of trust that it's the right move.
Yeah, I mean, fighting it is not highly suggested at all. No. I think you should go with it, honestly. Yeah. And honestly, kudos for recognizing that. Like a lot of people will just fight to the bitter end, but you're like, no, God, you want me somewhere else, and you're going to go with it. So that's commendable. And God's going to bless that. You know, you're going to make more money doing that, or more peace, or both. So respect that, man. Yeah. Are you part of any of the guilds that went on strike or no?
No, I'm just independent.
Yeah. Okay. So that allowed you to find more work during
a lot of the union work that got shut down. Those folks probably absorbed a lot of the jobs that I would normally get. That's like my theory.
This year, you're saying?
Yeah, this year.
Sure.
And probably last year too.
Yeah. Would you ever join one of them?
No, I wouldn't.
What's the pro con?
For my type of work, it's motion picture sound editors, the MPSE. And I think the pro to that is you have access to a community, which is really important. You get access to events. They have screenings. Like they just did like 25-year anniversary to The Matrix. I don't remember when it came out, but it's like some big 30-year anniversary.
I think it was 99 actually. So
99?
98, 99. I think that makes sense. Sounds about right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. They did like a big screening for that, and they had like Q&As and panels with the sound editors that's awesome. But the con is you got to pay dues, which is like it's a lot. It's like something like in the thousands.
A year.
As far as I know.
Like, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure what the number is exactly, but the con is the dues.
It's not guaranteed work?
No, it's not. It's that's what I was going to say is like it's not like a union where if you're like a stagehand you're in construction, a union, it's like they call you and they say you're on this contract for 6 months or whatever. Being in the union as a motion picture sound editor is just you have the MPSE next to your name and you get access to the events, and you have like if you're on a job, you get good pay based on what my understanding. But there's no one like calling you up and being like, you're on this job. That's not the way it works. So you have to be independent. Like you basically have to do what I'm doing now, which is be like your own your own salesperson, administrator, boss, like whatever.
And how does the pay work? So you get paid at finish. You get one, like 3 installments, one start, one middle, one end, weekly. How does it work?
Like for me as a freelancer, or like in the union?
Freelancer and then in the union.
I don't know how the union works because I've never been a part of it, and I don't really talk to a lot of people that are in the union. But for me personally, I just ask for like down payments, and then I get paid whenever they send me the Zelle, whenever they send me the Venmo. It's net 30. It's like any typical job. It's
so 30 up front, 70 on completion.
No, sorry. It's I usually ask for like half up front or 30%, and then the remaining balance within 30 days after I send my invoice. That's kind of the standard.
And what's your typical turnaround time though?
Well, I mean, I work on a lot of short films, so I would say a lot of them are around 15 minutes long or 20 minutes. I just worked on a short film that's screening in the city in a couple of weeks, and I did all the post-production sound on that. So for like a dialogue edit, for a surround mix, and like some Foley and some sound design, it took me about 4 days, I think.
It's not bad.
It's not too bad. Obviously, there's more I could have done. Like, there's always more you can do with sound, but it's a very low budget project, and there's deadlines, and yeah, so 4 to 5 days for a 15-minute, 20-minute short.
Yeah, but people don't know that 20-minute short isn't just 20 minutes of like content. You don't film it in one take. It's hours and hours that you cut down to 20 minutes, and same with editing.
Hours and days of shooting and pre-production and editing and post-production, doing the sounds, and it's a lot of work.
And a 20-minute short is actually kind of long for a short film, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
That's kind of wild.
It's almost like a TV episode.
Is that the one you're telling me about with the drug and the tiger? And yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, tiger.
So you just did post?
Yeah, I did the post-production sound.
Okay, so you mentioned Foley and sound design. You do. Yeah, that's the fun stuff.
That is the fun stuff, bro. Yeah. So that's a great question. So I had the director here in my studio, and we were finishing the mix, and it's cool. I have this mic, like a boom arm on my desk, and I have that mic just set up on that. And whenever I need to just put in like a little detail of like some Foley, maybe like someone like moving their hands or clothing rustling or whatever, I just like boom, I arm record, I take the boom and I just do my thing right in front of it. But there was like this one scene where there's this woman in a room, and she walks away out of the room, and it's like very empty, like there was nothing happening in the room, but you still needed something to make it feel a little bit more immersive instead of just room tone, like quiet, you know what I mean? And my studio is right outside there's like a window right here, and we actually heard the birds, and he was like, hey, that would actually sound really good if we had some like birds in there. So, and there was a dove outside my window. It was going, woo, 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 woo,
wow,
like whatever, like
that's
the dove.
So cool.
So we're like, wait, that actually might sound pretty cool in this shot. So we went through the library. We found like actual recording of like a human making a dove sound. And we just like stuck that in there, and it was just perfect.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. And that's like the most rewarding part about doing Foley and like sound design and post-production sound, is like being very intentional about choosing specific sounds and like adding it to the picture and like allowing the picture to feel immersive and come alive. We're kind of like magicians, because people don't realize all the sounds are like, besides the dialogue, all the sounds are done after they shoot.
Yeah.
It's all like not artificial. There's definitely an art form to it, but all of it is added in after everything's filmed. Yeah. So it's like you're kind of tricking the viewers in a way. Kinda,
but like, I guess also people don't know how bad it would sound if you just used a room capture mic. Like, it would sound like terrible.
It sounds so empty.
Yeah.
And and that's why I get so frustrated being a sound editor, because there's so many directors that approach me and they say, it doesn't need a lot of work.
Yeah, they have no idea.
That's like them coming up to you, and you're trying to like write like a graphic novel, and they're just like, I have this idea for a graphic novel. I pretty much have everything ready to go. You just need to like draw a couple illustrations. Yeah. It's like, no, it needs a lot of work.
A lot.
So part of my job is like, I need to like gracefully guide them and tell them like, I highly recommend you like rethink this and like consider how important sound is in cinema, because it's, I would say, at least half of the storytelling. A lot of people, they say, I would rather watch a movie that looks bad and sounds good than a movie that looks good and sounds bad. Because if you don't understand what they're saying, you're just lost.
I mean, look at like Paranormal Activity. Like, obviously they use real cameras, but it was made to look like security camera.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then all of the audio cues are what's scary.
Exactly. Horror is huge with sounds.
Yeah. The Avengers, like, obviously, first of all, those are highly CGI or CG, so they're like not even real. They're computer generated.
Yeah.
But when you look at the scene, like, you're going to recognize the Avengers theme before you are going to recognize, like, where they even are on the planet or whatever.
Absolutely.
So it's, like, super important. So listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Hire him.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you do any of the ADR here?
Not really.
So that's all comes to you beforehand?
Yeah, sometimes you'll have the actors just, like, they have their iPhones and they just talk into it. Yeah.
So you could have edited it that well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal if they do. Like, I'd rather them be in a studio, but no one's got the budget really for that.
Sure.
Sometimes they do, but no, I don't do ADR here. I have the capabilities of doing it, but it's just practically. I'm in Long Island. Most of them are in the city or Brooklyn. So.
And they're not getting paid extra for that. So
probably not. I would go out on a limb and say they're probably not. That's why they probably just record it on their phone, because the filmmakers are like, "Can you just please do me a favor?" And
yeah.
You know, I'll buy you lunch or something. Like,
have you worked on a film that you would actually rewatch?
That's a good question. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I find myself rewatching them all the time because I'm just like proud of my work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So outside of like the quality, so outside of your work, what about quality of film?
What do you mean?
Like, the story's good, the acting's good, the directing's good?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's, I wouldn't like, on like a Friday night, like throw it on my projector in my living room. But like, if I wanted to like show some friends, yeah, I mean, there's some projects that I'm very proud of. A lot of them I'm not proud of.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, like, I'm very grateful to have worked with people who are really talented and tell some pretty interesting stories. And
I mean, we have where we're at. We have two big film festivals, the Gold Coast and the Tribeca. Mm-hmm. So like we come from an area where like film is very well done and recognized.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of hard if you're getting a lot of local clients to like find something that's utterly trash. But there's obviously going to be people who think that directors or actors and aren't.
Yeah.
But it's also really nice to hear that you've worked on stuff that you genuinely outside of your work think is good, because like you don't have any say in the final edit of the film, right?
Yeah,
or any say in dialogue, acting, directing, anything. No. Cinematography.
Yeah,
so you just do the audio.
My job is just to take it and bring it to the next level.
Right. Sure. So the fact that you have film that you've worked on that you enjoy watching outside of your audio work is actually really nice to hear.
Yeah.
And so when you get it, you have the final edit already. You're just adding audio.
Pretty much, yeah.
Interesting. That's really cool. So you get to see the whole film essentially.
Yeah, it's cool. And I was working with that director the other day I was mentioning, and he said something really interesting to me, was that it's really cool to be in the room while you're doing post-production sound, because you're literally just making it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas I think his background is more in video editing, and when you're doing video editing, you're making it better overall as like a project, as a story, but you're like taking out a lot. You're cutting out a lot of stuff, and sometimes, based on my understanding, it's probably hard to like take out like certain scenes that maybe there's scenes that you really like, or you're just not sure what should get taken out or not. But yeah, with sound, it's like it's pretty additive. I mean, it's subtractive in the sense that you have to remove noise and stuff from dialogue, but most of the time you're just kind of building the story and enhancing the vision of the directors, whereas like there's other things like color and video. Well, I guess color could be dissimilar, where you're just like making it better and better, but I don't know. From a perspective of a video editor, it's a little different.
Man, so many brains involved in making a film.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people involved. I mean, you sit there in the credits, you're like sitting there for like 5 minutes. The big Hollywood ones, is just like,
Is there a film you wished you worked on? Or that you admire the audio so much you wish you worked on it?
That's a good question. First one I think of is, I would say the film that made me feel super inspired and something I would want to be a part of is The Greatest Showman.
Oh, that movie's so good, bro.
Oh, bro, it's probably top 5 favorite movies of
really?
all time. I remember like the night I watched it, I was just like blown away by everything. The story. The story is always like number one for me. It's like it's got to have like a good story, and the music was just spectacular, and the acting, the cast, and all the choreography. I'm not a dancer or anything, but I was just like the cinematography with the choreography and everything. And man, I was very inspired after I watched that as a sound person. I was just like, man, like that'd be a dream to work on that.
Wow. You want to know a hot take?
Yeah.
La La Land is better.
What?
La La
Land is better?
Yeah.
No, I disagree.
That is such a hot take, bro. I know. I get it. But it's such a good movie. Like, everybody was, like, kind of hating on that movie, especially since it won, like, Best Music that year next to Frozen or whatever it was. I think it was Frozen.
La La Land win, like, 1 billion Oscars or something?
But, like, everybody thought Frozen should have won, like, Best Music.
Okay, yeah.
But, like, no. La La Land is such a good movie. And I actually genuinely think it's better than The Greatest Showman. And I got 2 reasons why. Everybody loves a good love story.
Okay.
And the fact that the twist at the end, where it's not really a twist, but they don't end up together.
Yeah.
Especially in a love story.
Yeah.
But they both, like, you chased your dreams and you got to exactly where you wanted to, but at such a huge cost. Mm-hmm. And, like, they're both, like, I mean, I guess, I forget her, like, Emma Stone's character.
Yeah.
I forget her character's name, but she ends up happier than him, even though he's the one who sacrificed more to get where he was at.
So you enjoy the aspect that, what I'm hearing is...
It's real.
It's real.
Yeah. So, like, he sacrificed so much more than her to get to where he was at, living his dream, touring, playing in a band, and then opening up his own venue and playing at a jazz venue. And she sacrificed not as much because she's the one who got broken up with. She's the one that, like, got given up on. Meanwhile, she's this famous actress. Mm-hmm. And then she gets her family, has a kid, has a house, has a husband, and he's alone.
Yeah.
And, like, they both got their dreams, but since he's the one who did all the sacrificing, he wasn't as happy in the end.
Wow. Yeah, I'd never looked at it through that lens before.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Hot take, La La Land's better than The Greatest Showman.
That's a hot take.
There's your social media clip right there.
There you go. Clip it. Captions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, bro. That's just and like, we've talked about movies before. I'm a big movie guy.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, obviously I'm a writer. So, like, I like story, I like character arc and stuff like that. And so that's what I look at more. That's why I think Lord of the Rings is better than Star Wars.
Respect that.
And I also think Rings of Power is better than people
oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's trash.
The first 2 episodes suck.
Okay.
Episode 6 is some of the best fantasy we've seen on TV. Mm-hmm. Those are my 2 hot takes for that show.
Let me ask you about Angel Studios. What do you think about Angel Studios?
Angel Studios. I think people hate on them for no reason.
Really?
I think The Chosen is a fantastic show. At least was for the first 3 seasons. And they're a studio that has to hire union people. And because they hire union people, there's people who don't believe in Jesus that work on these shows. And they got a lot of hate for that. Meanwhile, because there was like a camera op who had like LGTV flag on there. And then people saw that and they're like, but it's supposed to be a Christian show.
Yeah.
It's like they're a big or considered a bigger studio. So they have to hire a union.
Yeah.
Which means they don't get full control over who's coming in.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of flack for that.
I never knew about that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Christians love to hate. Man, you're a Christian. You know how it is.
Well, that's like this thing that I've seen on your social media. It's the heresy hunting, right?
Yeah. So that's not really heresy hunting in the fact, like, I understand why you're actually talking about this. Like, why you think that. That's just like lack of education. Like, you just don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But besides that, I know there's a lot of controversy behind Angel Studios. I only know them for The Chosen. I haven't watched it. If they have any other stuff, I haven't watched it.
I think it just sorry to cut you off, but I think it really just comes down to, like, people looking for the bad things. Like they're intentionally seeking out ways to make people feel bad or to decredit them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's another part of like what I do on my social media is like I try to find all the good things in like mainstream media and like trying to find Christ in it, then looking for all the bad things in Christian media.
Yeah.
So like my life goal, and like I consider myself 100% successful when I hit this benchmark, and that is I want to buy something like PureFlix, for example, or Angel Studios or whatever, probably PureFlix, purge all the content on it, and then gatekeep Christian media hardcore.
Gatekeep it. Wow.
Yeah, because I'm tired of a mediocre Christian media.
Well, I think a lot of people would agree with you about that.
But no one's doing anything about it.
I think Angel Studios is
they're making so like
they're making a pretty like significant effort. I was just watching a podcast from George Janko. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah,
he did. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he had an interview with two of the like an executive and a director from Angel Studios, and that was one of the things they said on the podcast was like, I don't like Christian media.
Yeah.
And so you're not the only one.
So like the top 2 of all time for like Christian media is probably like what, VeggieTales and The Chosen.
Yeah, Passion of the Christ. That's not really
kind of
Christian.
Media. Like he's really Catholic, but also like a terrible human being. So it's like hard to. He doesn't believe the Holocaust exists, stuff like this. But it's like also kind of biblically accurate, but like pulls a lot of like Hollywood stuff out of it.
Okay.
But
VeggieTales and The Chosen.
Yeah, and then I would slot in the Passion of the Christ in like number 3.
Okay.
But like for all the good ones, which is like less than 10. There's like 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 bad ones.
Yeah.
So like I grew up like with Bible Man. I don't know if you ever watched Bible Man.
No.
It's Batman, but he.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're dead.
Battery. What's that say? Depleted.
Battery exhausted.
Oh, he's a little tired.
All right. Well, if anyone out there is listening, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for Nick for being here. Our conversation was super fun.
Dude, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just keep listening. Like, obviously, like, you're my homie, but, like, I love all the stuff that you love. So I'm going to just listen to when you're talking to anybody because, I don't know, I find it enjoyable. So
yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation. And maybe we'll have you back for another one.
Whenever Roaches asks, I'll be here.
I got you. Yeah. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.